Listen closely, for the hours ahead hold a secret many overlook. Friday and Saturday are no ordinary days. They are the silent gateways where cycles shift, energy awakens, and hidden forces prepare those who are ready for transformation. Ancient Shaolin wisdom whispers of these thresholds, marking moments when the mind, body, and spirit align for breakthroughs few ever recognize. In this video, you will uncover the hidden patterns that make these days unlike any other. You will learn how subtle energy flows differently, how the breath can unlock doors of clarity, and why mindful stillness now can shape the rest of your life. We will explore principles practiced by monks for centuries, teachings often lost in modern life, and show how small actions on these days ripple into profound personal mastery. By the end of this journey, you will understand how to harness Friday and Saturday's energy, turning quiet moments into sharp focus, doubt into courage, and intention into tangible change. This is not just guidance, it is a call to step beyond ordinary time and step fully into your own strength. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, the place where ancient wisdom meets modern life, and where every viewer is invited to awaken the power within. Subscribe now to join our path, and ensure you never miss the insights that can change not just a day, but a lifetime. Stay with us until the very end, for what you are about to discover is rare, profound, and capable of transforming the way you move through each week. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. In the quiet moments when the world seems to rush past unnoticed, the mind begins to reveal its hidden patterns. Stillness is not emptiness. It is a mirror reflecting the movements of thought, desire, and fear. The Shaolin masters teach that mastery begins here, in this silent space where the chaos of the outside cannot reach. When the body rests, but the mind lingers in distraction, energy scatters. But when you cultivate stillness intentionally, even for a few breaths, the energy within aligns. Each inhale and exhale becomes a channel, a river flowing from the depths of your being to the surface of your presence. The monks call this the foundation of decisive action, because only a mind that is clear, calm, and centered can move with precision when the moment demands it. There is a story of a young disciple who struggled with impatience. He practiced techniques with his body, yet his results remained slow, his focus fleeting. One day, the master took him to the edge of a quiet pond and instructed him to sit without movement, without speech, for a full hour. The disciple resisted at first, restless and unsure. But as the minutes passed, he noticed the small vibrations of life around him, the rustle of leaves, the ripple of water, the subtle beating of his own heart. In that stillness, he discovered an awareness he had never known. Movements that once seemed clumsy became fluid. Decisions that once felt heavy became effortless. The lesson was clear. Action is born from stillness. Energy sharpened and aligned, waits silently in the depths of presence. The power to move decisively, to respond with clarity rather than reaction, arises not from forcing the body, but from cultivating a mind anchored in calm. In the quiet, the invisible currents of strength gather, and the disciple learns that true mastery flows where the mind is undisturbed. Breath is the silent teacher that guides the body, mind, and spirit into harmony. Long before movement or action, the breath carries the subtle currents of energy, flowing through the body like an unseen river. In Shaolin practice, every inhale and exhale is observed, not just as a physical necessity, but as a doorway into inner mastery. There is a tale of a monk who faced great trials in his training. His body was strong, yet his mind wavered under pressure. The master instructed him to sit each morning and count his breaths, to follow each inhalation and exhalation with full attention. At first, the disciple grew frustrated. The world seemed loud and thoughts were relentless, but gradually a rhythm emerged. With each mindful breath, tension loosened and clarity settled like morning mist over still water. Focused breathing channels the scattered energy within, drawing it into a quiet center. On days like Friday and Saturday, when the cycles of time shift, the breath becomes even more potent. Each inhale brings awareness, each exhale releases what no longer serves. It is a practice of discipline, a subtle act of surrender, yet also of control. the paradox of true mastery. Through this simple, repeated motion, the mind sharpens, emotions settle, and latent energy rises without force. Breath becomes the bridge between inner silence and outward action. Decisions, once clouded by doubt, appear with surprising clarity. Actions, once heavy with hesitation, become fluid and precise. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that the breath is more than life. It is the pulse of consciousness itself. To cultivate it is to cultivate presence, to awaken potential that lies dormant in ordinary moments. In the calm, measured rhythm of mindful breathing, the practitioner discovers that power is not seized. It is drawn quietly from within, patiently, steadily, and without haste. Friday arrives quietly, yet it carries a weight unseen by those who move only with habit. In the wisdom of the Shaolin, it is a day set aside not for haste, but for preparation, a day to lay the foundation upon which transformation can unfold. The energy of the week reaches a subtle turning point, and those who recognize it can align themselves with its flow. A story speaks of a monk who approached each Friday, as if it were a threshold to another realm. He would rise before the sun, moving through his practices with intention. Each movement, each breath, each moment of stillness was observed, not as routine, but as training for presence. By the end of the day, his mind felt sharpened, like a blade honed with care. Those who saw him could not understand why he seemed so grounded, so calm. The secret lay in the preparation hidden in plain sight. Friday is a day to reflect, to examine thoughts, habits, and actions. It asks for discipline, the quiet courage to confront what has gone unnoticed. It invites intentional action, not the rush of doing, but the measured choice of what deserves energy and what must be released. In this rhythm, the mind finds clarity and energy aligns with purpose. Through this preparation, small efforts accumulate into readiness. The body is not just conditioned, but the spirit is tuned. The monk moves with an awareness that comes from hours of subtle practice, yet the transformation is invisible to those who chase results too quickly. Friday teaches patience and foresight, the quiet shaping of self before the search of opportunity. By treating Friday as sacred preparation, each action becomes meaningful, each breath purposeful. The day becomes a bridge between intention and manifestation, a time to honor discipline as the seed from which breakthrough will grow. It is not the day itself, but how it is held, that determines the strength of what is yet to come. Saturday arrives like a quiet drumbeat, signaling that preparation must now meet action. In the teachings of the Shaolin, it is the day where the energy gathered through stillness, breath, and reflection takes form. What was aligned on Friday now seeks expression, and the mind, body, and spirit must be fully awake to meet it. A tale is told of a young disciple who trained for months in patience and discipline. By Friday, he had honed his focus, cleared distractions, and strengthened his inner calm. Yet it was Saturday that tested him. The master led him to a practice he had not yet attempted, one that required timing, precision, and courage. The preparation alone could not carry him. He had to embody everything he had cultivated. With steady breath and unwavering presence, he moved through the challenge, discovering that readiness is only proven in action. Saturday demands more than skill, it demands presence. Each decision, each movement must align with the rhythm of the moment. Hesitation or doubt diminishes the subtle energy cultivated over days. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. The Shaolin teach that breakthroughs appear when the practitioner steps fully into the flow, without clinging to certainty, yet anchored in discipline. This is the day when intention becomes reality. Small actions performed with awareness ripple outward, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. The energy once contained in stillness now flows, uniting mind, body, and spirit in decisive movement. Saturday teaches that preparation alone is not enough. The unseen currents of effort must meet the present moment, and the practitioner must rise to meet them. In this activation, what was once latent awakens, clarity sharpens, and breakthroughs unfold not by force, but by the quiet mastery cultivated through patient practice. It is the dance between readiness and action, the sacred moment where inner work meets the world. The fiercest battles are rarely fought with the body, They are waged silently within the mind. Fear, doubt, and distraction are the hidden enemies that shape our choices and drain our energy before the day even begins. In the Shaolin tradition, the greatest mastery comes not from defeating others, but from confronting these invisible limits. There is a story of a monk who excelled in physical training but faltered when faced with uncertainty. Each attempt at new practice was shadowed by hesitation. Each step forward clouded by fear of failure. One day his master observed him and said, "The enemy is not outside, it walks within your thoughts." The monk began to sit in quiet reflection, watching the rise and fall of his doubts without judgment. Slowly, the shadows lost their power. Awareness alone became a tool of liberation. This inner battle is subtle yet relentless. Distraction pulls energy outward, fear constrains movement, and doubt clouds clarity. The practice of mindfulness becomes a shield, observing each impulse without surrendering to it. Discipline is not harsh punishment, but the gentle act of returning the mind to focus again and again until the currents of limitation dissolve in their own time. The Shaolin teach that each obstacle is a mirror, revealing what has not yet been mastered within. By facing these hidden forces, the practitioner learns patience, resilience, and discernment. Courage is cultivated not by avoiding fear, but by acknowledging it and moving forward anyway. In this quiet confrontation, energy once scattered begins to converge. Thought becomes precise, action intentional, and the spirit steady. The inner battle is not a momentary struggle, but a daily practice, a dance between awareness and discipline. As limits are recognized and transcended, the path opens, revealing that true freedom and strength have always been found within. Discipline is not loud or dramatic. It moves quietly like a river carving stone over centuries. Its power is invisible at first, often overlooked by those who seek immediate results. Yet in the Shaolin tradition, discipline is the silent force that shapes the body, mind, and spirit with precision and inevitability. There is a story of a young disciple who struggled with impatience. He wanted mastery quickly, measuring success by immediate results. His master watched and guided him to practice a simple stance every day for hours without fail. At first, it seemed tedious, even pointless. But over weeks, the body strengthened, the mind settled, and a new awareness emerged. The small, consistent effort compounded, layer upon layer, until what once seemed ordinary became extraordinary. Shaolin wisdom teaches that true mastery is built through repetition, patience, and careful attention. Each movement, each breath, each deliberate act is a step on a path where results are not measured in days, but in the subtle transformation of the self. Discipline shapes character silently, cultivating resilience, focus, and inner strength without fanfare. The mind learns through this quiet practice that effort is never wasted, and patience is a form of wisdom. Consistency trains the senses to notice what is often missed: the shift of energy, the subtle rhythm of breath, the alignment of body and intention. Over time, the practitioner discovers that extraordinary results are not accidents, but the natural outcome of small, persistent actions performed with care and awareness. In the stillness of repetition, discipline becomes a companion, a teacher, and a guide. It does not demand attention, yet its presence shapes every choice, every action, and every thought. The silent force of discipline is the unseen hand that molds potential into reality, turning effort into mastery and ordinary days into opportunities for profound transformation. True clarity is born when the mind is free from the weight of attachment. Desire, expectation, and clinging create turbulence within, clouding perception and limiting action. The Shaolin masters teach that detachment is not indifference, but a disciplined release, an intentional space where the mind can observe without being consumed. A story is told of a monk who struggled with frustration during his training. Every mistake, every delay felt like a personal failure. His master guided him to sit quietly, to watch thoughts and emotions as if they were leaves drifting on a stream. At first the monk resisted, believing that engagement meant control. But slowly, as he observed without judgment, he realized that the mind's turbulence was the true obstacle, not the challenges themselves. By letting go of attachment, the path forward became visible, subtle but unmistakable. Detachment clears mental clutter and creates room for insight. When the mind is not bound to desire or fear, thoughts reveal their true nature. Emotions no longer dictate action, instead they become signals, teachers rather than captors. Through patient observation, the practitioner begins to distinguish between fleeting impulses and deeper truths. Shaolin wisdom emphasizes that emotional clarity is a form of mastery. The discipline of observing without reacting cultivates a mind that moves with precision, even in chaos. Decisions emerge not from distraction or compulsion, but from calm awareness. Breakthrough arises naturally in this space, as energy once tied to attachment flows freely into purposeful action. In this practice, the inner world becomes a mirror of strength. Detachment does not numb life, but enriches it, allowing the practitioner to engage fully while remaining untethered to the storms of the mind. Insight sharpens, presence deepens, and the subtle currents of power within begin to rise, unblocked and aligned with intention. Time flows in cycles, subtle and often unnoticed, carrying energy that rises and falls like the tide. The Shaolin masters speak of these rhythms not as mere days on a calendar, but as living currents, each carrying its own potential for growth, insight, and transformation. To move in harmony with these cycles is to harness a power that the unobservant never see. A story tells of a young disciple who struggled to maintain focus throughout the week. His energy spiked unpredictably, leaving him restless or exhausted at the wrong moments. His master instructed him to observe the flow of his own strength, noticing when clarity sharpened and when fatigue lingered. By tracking the subtle changes, he began to sense the hidden rhythm underlying his days. Friday, Saturday, and moments of stillness revealed themselves as opportunities, times when energy naturally aligned with intention. The Shaolin perspective teaches that mastery is as much about attunement as it is about effort. Observing the week's energy allows the practitioner to move with precision rather than struggle against unseen currents. Breath, focus, and movement can then flow in resonance with the natural patterns, transforming ordinary time into moments of clarity and power. True mastery is revealed not in the number of actions taken, but in their quality. The Shaolin teach that each movement, each choice, each word carries energy. When rushed or distracted, effort is diluted, scattered, and often wasted. There is a story of a disciple who sought to impress his master with speed and volume. He moved quickly through tasks, believing that more effort would demonstrate skill. Yet the master observed that each action was fractured, lacking precision, and full of wasted energy. One day, the master instructed him to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to act with full awareness. The disciple followed. In those moments of deliberate practice, he discovered an unexpected truth. By focusing entirely on one action at a time, the impact of each gesture increased, and results came effortlessly. Mindful action is the bridge between preparation and breakthrough. It requires calm, so the mind is not clouded by impatience, focus, so attention does not wander to irrelevant distractions, and intention, so every movement aligns with purpose. It is not about doing more, but about doing with completeness. The energy cultivated in stillness, discipline, and reflection finds its true expression when the body and mind move as one. The Shaolin perspective emphasizes that mastery lies in the subtlety of action. Even small, simple movements performed with awareness become profound. When actions are deliberate, each step carries clarity and power, and life itself becomes a practice of precision. Mindful effort teaches that effectiveness is never measured by quantity, but by the alignment of presence, intention, and skill. In this way, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the practitioner moves through the world with unshakable calm and mastery. The mind gathers countless impressions each day, thoughts, emotions, lessons whispered by experience, but without reflection they remain fleeting, like water slipping through fingers. The Shaolin teach that awareness becomes wisdom only when observed, recorded, and returned to with care. Reflection and journaling are tools to capture the subtle currents of thought, transforming experience into understanding and insight into action. A young disciple once struggled to see the progress of his practice. Each day felt repetitive, and growth seemed invisible. His master handed him a simple notebook and instructed him to record each moment of stillness, every insight from breath or movement, and each challenge that arose. Initially, the exercise felt tedious, yet over time, as he revisited his writings, patterns emerged. He began to notice the ebb and flow of his energy, the recurring obstacles of doubt, and the moments when focus deepened naturally. What had been invisible now became clear, offering guidance for future action. Friday and Saturday hold particular power in this practice. Friday's preparation and Saturday's activation are magnified when paired with reflection. By writing down observations, the practitioner anchors fleeting awareness into lasting wisdom. Insights gained in stillness and mindful action take form on the page, providing clarity, reinforcing discipline, and highlighting areas for growth. Journaling is more than recording events, it is an act of alignment. It trains the mind to observe without judgment, to discern subtle lessons, and to integrate practice into daily life. The Shaolin perspective sees the written word as a companion to the body and breath, a way to track the invisible movement of energy and consciousness. Through consistent reflection, the practitioner cultivates self-awareness, sharpens judgment, and prepares the inner landscape for breakthroughs that extend beyond Friday and Saturday into every day of disciplined life. Courage is not born from comfort. It is forged in the quiet moments when the unknown stretches before the mind and the heart trembles with uncertainty. The Shaolin teach that fear is a natural companion, but it is disciplined practice that transforms it into strength. True breakthroughs demand a willingness to step beyond familiar boundaries, to move into the space where the mind has not yet charted the path. A story tells of a monk who faced a challenge he could not yet master. Each attempt brought hesitation, each step forward carried doubt. His master instructed him to persist, not by brute force, but through patient repetition, mindful breath, and focused presence. Day by day he confronted tasks that felt beyond his reach, learning to meet fear with calm observation rather than resistance. Slowly, courage took root, not as recklessness, but as steady confidence born from experience and preparation. Stepping into the unknown requires awareness of one's limits, yet a refusal to be bound by them. Shaolin philosophy teaches that courage is cultivated, not inherited. It grows from small acts performed consistently, holding still in meditation, following the breath under pressure, observing impulses without yielding to them. Each moment of disciplined practice strengthens the spirit, preparing it to meet the unexpected with clarity and resolve. The unknown tests patience, focus, and alignment, but it is also the place where potential awakens. By facing it, the practitioner discovers that fear is temporary and inner strength is enduring. The path may be uncertain, yet each step taken with presence becomes a bridge between hesitation and mastery. In this way, courage is not merely the absence of fear. It is the refined power that emerges when the mind is trained, the heart steady, and the body aligned, allowing the practitioner to move confidently into whatever challenges lie ahead. Silence is often mistaken for emptiness, yet in the teachings of the Shaolin, it is one of the most potent tools for inner mastery. When the world clamors with noise and distraction, silence becomes a sanctuary, a space where the mind can settle, the heart can listen, and the spirit can be heard. Within silence, subtle truths rise, and intuition speaks more clearly than any external guidance. A story is told of a young monk who struggled with indecision. His mind was crowded with advice, doubt, and the clamor of his own fears. His master led him to a quiet courtyard at dawn and instructed him to sit without speaking, without movement, for the length of an hour. At first the silence felt heavy and uncomfortable. Thoughts surged and impatience gnawed at him. But gradually, as he surrendered to stillness, he began to notice faint stirrings within, insights, instincts, and understanding that had been drowned out by noise. Decisions that once seemed complicated became simple, guided by clarity rather than impulse. Silence is more than absence of sound. It is the presence of awareness. It allows internal dialogue to deepen, revealing patterns of thought, emotion, and energy that often go unnoticed. It strengthens discernment, teaching the practitioner to distinguish between fleeting impulses and enduring truths. In Shaolin practice, silence is not passive. It is an active cultivation of attentiveness, a training of the senses inward, where the mind learns to move with precision and the spirit with calm authority. By embracing silence, the practitioner creates a space where wisdom emerges naturally. Intuition becomes a trusted guide. Subtle energy can flow unimpeded, and the noise of the world no longer dictates action. In this quiet, the foundations of mastery are strengthened, revealing that the deepest power often resides in the stillness we cultivate within. The body is more than a vessel. It is a living instrument through which the mind and spirit express themselves. In Shaolin philosophy, the physical form is a temple of mastery, and every movement, no matter how small, carries the potential to cultivate balance, awareness, and inner strength. Care for the body is inseparable from care for the mind, for they are mirrors of each other. A story is told of a young disciple who sought enlightenment through meditation alone. He spent hours in stillness, yet found his thoughts restless, his focus fleeting. The master observed him and instructed a simple practice: mindful walking, gentle stretches, and deliberate movement each day. At first, the disciple dismissed the exercises as trivial, but over time, he noticed a subtle transformation. His mind became steadier, emotions less turbulent, and his presence more grounded. The body, trained with attention and care, strengthened the mind and deepened awareness. Shaolin teaching emphasizes that mastery is not separate from the physical. Each breath aligned with posture, each stretch held with mindfulness becomes a lesson in patience, discipline, and attentiveness. Small, consistent movements cultivate subtle energy, reinforce posture and alignment, and create a harmonious flow between action and thought. The body becomes a channel through which insight flows effortlessly, and the practitioner learns that physical discipline is inseparable from spiritual clarity. Even the simplest actions, a slow bow, a mindful step, a controlled stretch, carry significance when performed with awareness. The body absorbs discipline, translating it into balance and resilience that extend beyond the physical. Through mindful care, the practitioner discovers that the temple within is not built in grand gestures alone, but in the quiet, consistent attention paid to every movement, every breath, every step along the path of mastery. Gratitude is more than a feeling. It is a force that aligns mind, body, and spirit. In the wisdom of the Shaolin, acknowledging even the smallest victories opens a channel for energy to flow freely, transforming ordinary moments into sources of strength. Each recognition of what is present and what has been achieved amplifies momentum, quietly guiding the practitioner toward greater clarity and purpose. A story is told of a monk who grew frustrated with the slow progress of his training. Day after day, he labored in stillness, breath, and movement, yet he felt as if nothing changed. The master called him to observe the simple acts he often overlooked: a steady posture held without strain, a breath completed with full attention, a step taken with balance and calm. Honor these small victories, the master said. Each one is a seed. Gratitude waters it, and the harvest will follow. The monk began to record and reflect on each success, however minor, and gradually discovered a growing sense of energy, focus, and joy within his practice. Gratitude shifts the mind from scarcity to abundance. It quiets comparison, softens resistance, and strengthens internal harmony. The Shaolin teach that when the mind, body, and spirit are in alignment, energy is no longer scattered by distraction or doubt. It becomes concentrated, deliberate, and capable of carrying the practitioner toward breakthroughs. Even brief moments of mindful appreciation, acknowledging effort, patience, or progress, multiply energy far beyond their size. They create a subtle rhythm of positivity, reinforcing discipline and presence. Through gratitude, the practitioner learns to honor the journey, to recognize the hidden progress in stillness, and to transform small everyday actions into lasting momentum. It is a quiet power, but one that grows steadily, linking insight to action and intention to result. Wisdom alone is incomplete until it touches the world through action. In the Shaolin tradition, insight is only as valuable as the steps it inspires. A lesson observed in stillness, a truth realized through reflection, must be carried into practice. Only then does knowledge transform into mastery and understanding into real change. There is a story of a disciple who spent years meditating and training, absorbing teachings with diligence and care. He could speak of principles fluently, yet when faced with challenges in daily life, his actions often faltered. One day, his master guided him to apply his knowledge deliberately in a simple task, moving with precision, observing his breath, and remaining fully present. The lesson was small yet profound. The integration of insight into action revealed the gap between knowing and doing. From that moment, each learned principle became a tool, each reflection a guide for movement, speech, and choice. Integration requires patience and discipline. It is a quiet, ongoing practice of translating thought into deliberate effort, of allowing clarity to inform behavior. The Shaolin teach that breakthroughs are rarely sudden. They emerge when understanding consistently guides action, when the rhythms of preparation and reflection merge seamlessly with the flow of the day. By merging insight with action, the practitioner learns that mastery is holistic. Mind, body, and spirit are no longer separate domains. They move in harmony, informed by awareness and anchored in intention. The lessons of stillness, breath, discipline, courage, and gratitude converge in each step taken with focus, each choice made with clarity, each effort performed with presence. True transformation arises in this integration. Wisdom finds form, subtle energy manifests as deliberate action, and potential becomes reality. It is here, in the balance between understanding and doing, that the silent currents of practice crystallize into meaningful breakthroughs and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The close of a cycle carries a quiet power, one that often goes unnoticed. Friday and Saturday hold a rhythm that, when embraced, can influence the days that follow, shaping energy, focus, and intention for the entire week. In Shaolin philosophy, time is seen not as linear, but as a series of currents, moments to align with, moments to harness, moments to carry forward. A story tells of a monk who approached each week with deliberate attention. On Friday, he prepared, clearing his mind, observing his breath, reflecting on lessons learned. On Saturday, he activated, moving with precision, courage, and presence. By the end of the weekend, he noticed a subtle but profound shift. Tasks that once felt heavy became lighter, decisions more intuitive, and energy more abundant. The practice of aligning with the rhythm of these days allowed the benefits of discipline, reflection, and mindful action to ripple into the rest of his life. Closing the cycle is more than marking an end. It is the conscious gathering of lessons, energy, and insight, consolidating them into readiness for the days ahead. The Shaolin teach that consistent alignment with these principles creates a lasting structure within the mind and body, so that breakthroughs do not remain fleeting but grow stronger and more integrated over time. When the currents of preparation, activation, reflection, and mindful action are observed and respected, the practitioner begins to move through life with greater ease. Each week becomes a repetition of growth, a spiral of mastery in which the subtle energies of time are harnessed deliberately. The ordinary flow of days transforms into a rhythm of purpose, presence, and power, reminding us that the cycles we honor shape not only moments, but the very trajectory of our inner journey. Friday and Saturday are more than days on a calendar. They are gateways to growth, moments where preparation and presence meet. By embracing stillness, focused breath, mindful action, courage, and reflection, you align yourself with a rhythm that nurtures deep personal breakthroughs. Shaolin wisdom teaches that true mastery is born from discipline, awareness, and the integration of mind, body, and spirit. Take these days with intention. Observe your thoughts, move with purpose, and honor the subtle energies around you. Small, consistent practices can transform not only your weekends, but the entire flow of your life. Each moment becomes an opportunity to cultivate clarity, strength, and inner balance. As you walk this path, remember that transformation unfolds quietly through patient, mindful steps. Trust the process, honor your discipline, and allow the energy of these sacred days to guide your growth. If this message resonates and you wish to continue exploring the wisdom of Shaolin practice and personal mastery, please like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. Let your journey of inner transformation continue, one mindful step at a time.